Hi there. This is a nice little yoga sequence for you so that you can just open your hips and stretch those hamstrings, regardless if you've been sitting at the desk all day or if you have yet to start your work week or if it's a weekend and you just need that rest. We're going to stretch it out so we can get on with everything else we need to do and not worry about feeling locked up and closed in. So to start, we'll just sit nice and tall. Ground your seat into the earth. Roll your shoulders down your back and your hands can rest either palms down or palms up on your thighs. Start to fill into your body, feeling the sit bones just sink down into the earth. And we're going to use a little bit of core strength, belly button to spine, just to lift up. So really the only muscles we want to have active right this moment are the ones to keep our spine tall. You might allow your eyes to float closed, shoulders to soften even more. And just take a few moments to find your breath, to listen to your breath, and to really feel your breath. When you inhale, let your rib cage expand front to back and side to side, completely filling up. Take about 3 more breaths, filling up completely and emptying out fully. Relax your jaw, your shoulders, 1 more breath. And then we'll slowly begin to take our chin towards our chest, stretching your neck, just a nice long reach up through the crown. And then gently blink your eyes open towards your legs. We're going to come forward into a tabletop pose. Bring your palms stacked below your elbows and your wrists, and your hips stacked above your knees. A couple cats and cows right here to warm up the spine. Inhale, drop the belly towards the mat as you lift up your seat and your crown. And then exhale, reverse that. Round your back, tuck your tailbone, and chin into chest as your crown reaches for the earth now. About 3 more breaths like this. Move slowly. And 1 more breath. Beautiful, friends. From that tabletop pose, that flat back, we're going to float or carry your right leg forward in between the palms. And slowly let your hips come forward. So we want to keep our hips level with one another, so squared off, but let them melt forward so your left hip flexor is really opening up. Soften your shoulders, open your chest. Your hands can be on the ground or on blocks or on fists if your wrists are a little tender even and you don't have the blocks. Or you can walk them up and stack one palm on the other on top of your thigh. Staying lifted and tall in the chest, soft in the shoulders, and just find your breath. About 3 breaths here. We'll gently place your palms on the mat, finding our half splits now. Send your hips back just to where your left hip is over the left knee. And then extend your right leg forward nice and long, toes to the sky, and make sure your right heel is in line with your right hip. You can keep a nice bend in the knee, especially if you're feeling too much stretch or any tension in your hamstring. Soft bend in the knee. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in, and then allow yourself to just start to fold slowly over your leg when you breathe out. Just 1 more breath. Nice. Slowly plant your right foot so it's firm in the ground. We're going to rise up with our hands to the sky. So square your hips and reach your arms up. Shoulders should be over the hips. Let's get nice and tall on the waistline, activating our core so belly is up, our powerhouse, our center is turned on. Bring your hands to your heart. Elbows are wide and in line with the wrists. Slowly take a breath in, and as you exhale, we're going to twist right. Now you can stay here or lean your elbow onto your thigh. So your hips stay squared to the front. You're just going to gently twist open. If you want to turn this on even more, tuck your back toes and stand up with the back leg. Nice tall. Hug your inner thighs here so they stay squared. And slowly breathe, get long. And every breath out is a chance to deepen your twist. 2 more breaths. We'll come out by looking down at our foot, placing your left hand on the ground, on the mat, right under your left shoulder, reaching your right arm up. So if your back knee was down, you could choose to lift it up now, or you could keep it down. Up to you. Squeeze your inner thighs to let those hips lift and twist a little more. Reach up through your top fingertips. Take 1 more breath in. And as you exhale, bring your right palm down. We're twisting to the left side of our mat and then bending our left knee at the back of our mat. 1 more extension for that front leg, really targeting our inner thigh. You can use your hands here on blocks on the mat. Maybe bring them up to your heart. Your back heel can be flat on the mat. Maybe it's lifted, whatever you need to do. You can always support a little rolled up washcloth under the back heel if you're having any ankle pain. And you can also take it to a version where you are more stood up. Feel free to play with your arms here. Our goal is to hug towards the midline so you have muscular engagement, wrapping muscle to bone, but to let everything else soften and to stay full in the breath. Two more rounds of breath. When you're ready to come out, we'll plant our palms on the mat to help assist us over to a low lunge back at the top, where your right foot is forward. Step back into a plank pose from here. Heels high on the toes, shoulders over the wrists. Plug up your belly button to the spine. Then slowly bring your knees down, hug your elbows back, lower to the earth. We'll find a round of cobra. So untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet into the earth, and on an inhale, lift up through your chest. Lifting the knees off the mat, pressing the tops of feet down. Option to hover your arms. Take 1 more breath in, and exhale, release to the mat. High plank, take it there. And then downward facing dog, hips to the sky. Take a moment to pedal into this dog, let it feel so good. Let tension release from your neck. And slowly float your knees back to the ground. You're gonna float or carry that left knee forward now, left foot rather. Let your hips start to melt forward. Back toes can be tucked or untucked. Make sure they're pointing straight back out of your hip. Hug your right hip forward, your left hip back, so you can squeeze them and then allow yourself to find that melting point where you can release and relax. Beautiful. 1 last round of breath. And float your hands to the ground for your half splits. Send the hips back, stacking right hip and knee, and elongating left heel forward, toes pointing up. We get deeper here by using our breath. Let your exhales hinge you forward out of your hip flexors rather than bowing and leading forward from the crown of your head. Just make sure those toes are pointed upward or even back in towards your heart center. Get about 1 more breath here. See if you can fold a little deeper on your exhale. Then slowly come back up with your spine, plant your left foot, and reach your arms for the sky. Hug those inner thighs to help assist you with the lift, your stability, your strength. Hands float down to your heart, elbows widen. Take a breath in, get tall, and exhale, twist left. You can stay up in the twist or allow your elbow to float to your outer thigh. Feel free to tuck those back toes if you did before. Maybe you want to challenge yourself on this side too. Float the right knee up. Think of staying long in your spine and also actively pushing your left heel into the ground for that lift up to stay strong and stacked. About 2 more breaths. Let's come out, we'll look at our front foot, then bring your right hand under your shoulder, that grounded twist. Reach up through your left hand. Think of stacking your shoulders and lengthening to a T these long arms. Hug your inner thighs. You're not twisting in the hips, you're twisting in the shoulders. Your hips are staying square. Soften the muscles in your face. 1 more breath in. And then exhale, twist to your right side of the mat, all the way to the back for Skandasana, our side lunge. Bending the right knee, elongating the left leg. Keeping your spine tall, shoulders soft, find whatever works for you again with your hands. Supporting you on the ground, maybe finding prayer hands at the heart center. Breathing fully front to back and side to side. One more round of breath. We'll slowly plant our hands on the mat, travel to your low lunge, back at the top with your left knee forward. Step into your plank, lower down for a different variation of cobra. Do Shalabhasana, locust pose. So this time you can reach your hands back, thumbs towards the earth. Roll your shoulders down your back and start to lift up through the chest. Tops of feet can stay in the ground with knees lifted, or go ahead and point those toes long and float the legs as well. Working on the posterior chain, lifting up. So important that we target our back because so often we're working on the front side of our body. Lift up a little bit higher, hold for 4. We'll release in 3, 2, and 1. Slowly release it down to the mat. Palms under the shoulders. Go ahead and take a seat. Press yourself up to your sit bones. Extend your legs long in front of you for a seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Reach your arms up with your shoulders over your hips. Big breath in. And exhale, fold forward over both legs, grabbing wherever is comfortable for you. You can keep a soft bend in your knees to give you a little bit more softness and roundness in the low back, a little less compression. Think of lengthening through your spine, shoulders staying back in their sockets so you have a nice long neck. You have about 3 breaths here. Get a little longer with your last inhale and fold a little bit deeper with your last breath out. And then gently using your hands, support yourself up to a seat. We're going to cross our right ankle over our left thigh. Flexing your right ankle so your toes point back. You can stay right here to get that right outer hip targeted, or you might go a little bit deeper and plant your left foot up. You can support yourself with your hands. Fingers will face forward. Just keep your spine tall. I have about 6 breaths here. When we're ready to come out, we'll switch it out. Elongating your right leg maybe, and then taking your left ankle over the right thigh. Again, sitting up tall, flexing that left ankle, and maybe finding a different variation by pulling your knee up towards your chest. Sitting up really tall through the chest, lengthening the spine. And you can always be really still and just feel it, or you can move and see if you feel it in different spots. Maybe you did a bunch of squats the other day and your outer hips, your outer glutes are really sore and tender, and this feels like a nice little massage. And just one more breath. And we'll gently release. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees wide. And if this is too intense, you can sit in a more of a Sukhasana crossed ankle, crossed leg variation. And then you can remain upright and tall, or you can allow yourself to fold and round forward over your legs. Just let your shoulders always widen, melt down. You can take the elbows wide on the shins here on the outer calves, or the inner calves, I suppose, actually, and fold and round. Keeping your sit bones grounded as you fold. If you notice them lifting, you can back it back up so you have that firm foundation of which to move upon. Two more breaths or so. Nice, and use your hands, slowly walk yourself back up if you were folded and rounded. And you can lay back into a Shavasana. We'll just take a little bit of time here before we come back up and close out. So lengthen all the way down to the earth. Widen your limbs, palms face up. Walk your shoulders away from your ears. I always like to sigh out a cycle of breath as it allows me to release even more fully. And smooth any tension in your face, especially the brow line. And unhinge the sides of your jaw. We'll take about 6 to 10 breaths here. See if you can find that Ujjayi ocean breath by breathing in and out of your nose. And expanding your rib cage front to back and side to side. Begin to bring movement slowly back into the body, wiggling your fingers and toes. And of course, you can remain laying and reclined in Shavasana as long as you'd like. Rolling wrists and ankles, and maybe a big good morning stretch feels good. Stretching your arms over, lengthening your legs. And we'll slowly make our way back up to a seat. Just move slowly and casually. We'll close in Sukhasana. Hands to the knees, shoulders down your back. Option to join hands together in front of the heart at prayer. So I thank you for your time showing up for yourself. Hopefully this class helped you gain a little more space in your body. Many blessings to you on your journey in health and happiness. Namaste. Thanks, friends. I'll see you next time.